Of course, there's been a seismic twist over the declaration by the Akwa Ibom State Governor in Emo's support for the APC, and of course, all the defections that we've noticed from the PDP and other parties into the All Progressives Congress, looking at that of the Delta State Governor Sheriff Oberewori, and of course, his entire political cabinet, and that of the former vice presidential candidate and former governor of Delta State, in the person of Ifeanyi Okowa, and many others. It has been on the conversation that the country is gradually shifting towards a one-party state. But this exactly is what the president admonished against and said that democracy under his government, is breathing and thriving, and never would he, do anything that would harm it or tilt the country into authoritarianism, as others say. Well, let's look at this and, of course, bear our minds on what this means and, of course, critique what the president said and, of course, all that is happening as regards the factions. And joining me, starting from my extreme left, is the former SSA to the governor of Edo State on Arts and Culture, Amieye Omogie. Good to have you join.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Nigerians.
And next to Omogie is Electoral University of Benin from the political department, Neville Obakedo. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ITV, for having me. Good morning, viewers and listeners all over the world.
Of course, we also have an interesting political analyst with us, who is the Executive Director of Center for Democracy, Good Leadership, and Economic Justice, and the person of Benson Odia. Good morning, Benson.
God bless you. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, the die is cast, and like they say, it's not yet election year, but what politicians are gradually tilting our country's democracy into, has given us a rise, or the need for us to look at this closely. And from what was said concerning the factions, from political parties to the ruling party, some have suggested that, well, there seems to be a twist, and there is need for the government not to, take the country towards one-party state. But I don't know how you feel the pulse of what has been going on in terms of the political incidents happening in the country. Omogie.
Thank you very much, Philip. The truth of the matter is Nigeria as it is just now is headed towards a de facto one-party state. Having a viable opposition, brings about a robust democracy. So what we are currently having, take it or leave it, we are just 2 years into a new dispensation, and what the political elites are talking about is 2027, not facing governance. In fact, we are having a lot of crisis in the country. Look at what is happening in Benue, and they went to the northeast to start talking about endorsements for 2027. The political elites always look at the next election. It is only statesmen that look at the next generation. So that's what it is. The political elite are only concerned about the next elections.
Okay, but I think you may be wrong, and I believe viewers may also tell me wrong, some anyways, if you say that the country is tilting towards a one-party state, because the politicians that defected were not forced to do that, were they?
Okay, what has happened differently since the camp? If they remain in their political party, the dividends of democracy they promised those who elected them into power, can they deliver it? If they now feel that, having tent with the leading political party in the country would now be what will bring leverage to their people, that's bad, So I think we'll get there. We really need serious reforms.
Well, if we look at it critically, I think there is need for us to bring this aspect where we see politicians every day, giving us the impression that the purpose for which, some anyways, the purpose for which they are in governance is for personal aggrandizement. Because some will also say that maybe because our political parties do not really come with a very dominant feature of political ideology. I don't know if your perspectives are different, Benson.
If you look at what is happening in the country today, just like I would disagree with him. You see, politics, as it is, as a political scientist, is a game of interest. And one of my prof defined politics as a madness of all and benefit of the few. But be that as it may, if you look at what is really happening in the country by way of defection, you see, moving from one political party to the other is not only peculiar to this present dispensation. If you look at it before now, during the time of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, at the time, you look at the southwest states that originally people who were elected into the National Assembly and State Assembly as member from the Alliance for Democracy, AD. At the time, before the 2003 election, they started moving. But alignment in politics, alignment and realignment is allowed. If you look at those who are decamping today, just like he said, the reasons they are giving is that the political comatose and the imbroglio, the political imbroglio in their political party, which they have not able to resolve, is as a result of that, today in their party there are parallel national working committees and accusations and counter accusations on daily basis, crisis here and there. They take advantage of this and cite all those abnormalities and inconsistencies, the discrepancies in the leadership of their political party. That is what is making them to pick tent with the ruling party. And if you look at it, on the other hand, you discover that in a situation whereby most politicians in this country will contest for something, we say, okay, if it not be me, it must not be somebody else. If it's not me, let us spoil it. It is an aberration. Politics in this country is, although we say Nigeria is an evolving democracy, I believe that we should adopt the Western principle in line with global best practices.
Okay, well, if we look at what the president really represents, where we look at the ability he has always generated as regards opposing the government of the day to make sure that there's a balance in democracy, one would say that he has this galvanizing ability to, to encourage, opposition in governance in a way that is going to bring about a measure of improvement or progress in democracy. I don't know what you benchmark, Neville, as a measure of progress in democratic government under President Bola Tinubu as regards opposition in governance.
Well, when we talk about opposition in democracy, we are talking about either two-party system or multi-partyism, where there is no one political party or state party like the Communist Party, or like what we had in Kenya under the Kenyan African National Union that was led by Uze Jomo Kenyatta. When he died in the office, Daniel Arap Moi was his vice president, became president, and Kanu ruled that country for many years. Then the situation that we are in is not comparable to what happened in La Côte d'Ivoire, where President Félix Houphouët-Boigny, as the president of the country, was so powerful and his party was so powerful that they had to move the state capital, the country's capital, from Abidjan to Yamoussoukro, his hometown. That was a one-party state. Then the situation that we are in Nigeria, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not so comparable to the situation that we had in Tanzania under Julius Nyerere, when the Ujamaa philosophy was used under the Tanzania African National Union, which is TANU. Now, the situation that we are in is that we have a president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a product of opposition. In the aborted Third Republic, he was in the Social Democratic Party, and he was a senator representing Lagos West Central District. He was one of those who risked his life and businesses to fight the sectarism of military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. And Babangida acknowledged it in his book the other day when all of them were sitting together side by side. Tinubu was resilient in his opposition. Even when Olusegun Obasanjo became president and they were trying to play politics of ethnicity to say Yoruba man that is there, support Yoruba man, collapse your party to enter all the other places like Osun State, all the places like Ondo State, places like Ekiti State, they fell to PDP. It was only Lagos that was the surviving opposition party. So the issue is that opposition supposed to have a viral leadership.
Exactly.
Based on principles. If they fail to do so, they will be dancing to the whims and caprices of any government that is in power. And this is on the basis of the prevailing political culture in Nigeria, is that if you are in a party and the party is not in power, so that you will not lose out, so that you will be influential, so that you get contracts, so that you get appointment, go to the party that is in power. Just go and pledge loyalty that you want to be a member of the party. Then everything that you want, you will get it. That's why you see politicians, members of the elite class in Nigeria, they can be in party A in the morning, this morning now. In the afternoon from 12 to about 3 o'clock, they will be in party B. Then from 4 to about 10 p.m., they will be in party C. It's not because they have the interest of the people. It's not because they are nationalities. It's not because they are statesmen. They are doing that to promote their own selfish, narrow, and parochial interests. And this is the kind of culture that people have been socialized into. You see young people these days that are supposed to say, okay, we want to behave like the Kuomintang of China, led by Mao Zedong, that brought communism to China in 1949. We want to behave like Fidel Castro of Cuba, that led a revolution in 1959. Youth in Nigeria, even on Democracy Day, the military government of General Muhammadu Buhari promised democracy when they overthrew the government of Shehu Shagari. They never brought democracy. Babangida that came, promised democracy, and it was Maradonic, shifting the goalpost of return to democracy until he never added over to civilians. And then there were young people, students of various institutions, national universities, polytechnics. Some, like in Delta State, they went to Delta State Broadcasting Service. They announced that MKO Abiola was the president of this country. Many young people then risked their life, their schools and their academic pursuit because they wanted democracy to return to Nigeria. Today, you see young people, while others are celebrating democracy, wanting more of democracy to be consolidated in Nigeria, wanting the opportunity to be given to opposition to provide their own leadership, alternative leadership. You see young people attacking fellow young people that are protesting in favor of democracy. This is the kind of situation that we find ourselves. So Tinubu, as a president, is not forcing anybody to join APC, because he did not force anybody to join AD in the past when he was alone. But I know that politicking and promoting your interests is based on compromise, is based on intrigues, is based on personal interest, is based on alignment and realignment.
Yeah.
And every politician, including the president and commander-in-chief, they don't just think of this election and the policies that they want to provide. They are thinking of the next election because they have opportunity in the next election. So
thank you.
When you talk about people decamping or people carpet crossing, may refers of Delta State, may refers to Cross River State and other places, they are also strategically aligning in their own interest.
Okay.
And it is not an attempt to say that Nigeria is going to relapse to a one-party state like the places I mentioned.
Never.
And others I did not mention, like Malawi, like Central African Republic, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. I would say that I like your narrative because you use the aspect of intrigues, irrespective of the fact that the president may not just come out boldly or in practical terms to say that I would make this country a one-party state. He's not going to say that. But his body language could spell it out. And his galvanizing ability to, cajole people into the party could also present that. But let's look at the style of the opposition in governance, most especially the People's Democratic Party. I don't know, but we never had it well, even while they were in power, in as much as we're also not having a very smooth ride under the All Progressives Congress. But some have said that, the opposition that seemed to be coming in terms of the activities, the vibrancy, from the People's Democratic Party, is more or less like brewing bad blood and not really effective opposition in governance. And again, if you ask me again, some will also say that even a member of the party who is a beneficiary of the present government, talking about the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, the former Rivers State governor, also from the PDP. Do you see the People's Democratic Party, for instance, which you are a member of, having a very vibrant opposition in governance, bringing a balance in governance called democracy?
Thank you very much, Philip. Like I said in my last appearance on this station, I said virtually all the political parties in Nigeria don't have strong political ideology, and that has been a problem.
That includes your party?
Including my party, the PDP. No strong political ideology, because in Nigeria we have strong men, not strong institutions. Until we start to build strong institutions and not strong men, we cannot get it right. And that is why the opposition parties, PDP, Labour, and other political parties at this time should be rooting for strong political reforms. One of the major duties of an opposition party is to check and balance. Secondly, to provide diverse representation, and also to develop policies and policy engagement, with civil society, the electorate, and even international partners to help drive policies that the ruling political party is not giving. So the truth of the matter is, PDP and other opposition political parties needs to wake up from their slumber and be a viable opposition.
Okay, I don't know if what you are saying suggests this, but I want you to react to this. Are you saying, by virtue of the fact that your party is not bringing to the table effective opposition in governance?
Well, to a large extent, because like I said before now, he was saying Tinubu is not inviting any person to his party. Yes. But the body language shows so. The problem in PDP today is orchestrated by the APC. The problem in Labour Party today is orchestrated by the APC. We all know that. Even the problem in APC is even more than the one we have in PDP and Labour as it were today. But the truth of the matter is, they are the party in power. They can decide to say, oh, like in PDP, what is the major problem? Who becomes the national secretary of the party? If you are to be in APC, who are the ruling party at this point, so oh, you step down, go and take this ambassadorial position. And that calms down the whole thing. The problem with the opposition parties right now in Nigeria is orchestrated by the APC.
You may mention the fact there are defections from one party to the other probably because of lack of political ideology. But do you also agree that the problems in your party, PDP, could also necessitate the mass or exodus movement from that party to the APC?
Like I said, the same problem in PDP is in APC, is even more in APC as I speak to you. But because they are the party in power, they could, shift ground and compensate, the political class. Because it's like we all agreed here, it's all about interest.
Okay, you are of the APC. What do you have to say as regards what he said?
You see, we totally disagree with him. You see, the problem of PDP as it is now is a party that is dominant with people who do not have the interests of this country at heart. People who are very, very egocentric. You see, how can about 2 or 3 persons want to be national secretary of a political party? Just like what I said earlier, it must be me. If it is not me, it must not be another person. Which my people will say, Obajalu, Akishaya. That is what I bring them into this political quagmire. You see, just like
Obajalu, Akishaya.
Yes.
Can you interpret?
Okay. What it is that instead of me not to be a beneficiary, we will spoil it. Then I just have to play a spoiler role. That is what is happening in their party. PDP as a country, as a party in this country, most of the economic imbroglio and the economic quagmire that bedeviled the country today, they are the propaganda, and they funded it. And today, because of the egocentric natures of the leadership of the party is going into extinction. There is Exodus movement. In Edo, for instance, the party, as it is now, have a parallel acting caretaker committees, which is not supposed to be so. As an opposition party, they are supposed to be made for constructive criticism, and a very vibrant. It's supposed to be a political party that will be very vibrant in terms of dialogue, policy engagement, and what have you. But today, what you have is a campaign of calumny. Issues where you see a government that is doing well in terms of providing what they could not provide within their period of the government. Before you know, they start doing some, as it is today, the PDP, there is nothing like PDP as far as I'm concerned in this country. What we just have is a party secretariat. All their members, as it is, their members, both at the national and state assembly level, they already romancing the ruling party.
This is not a conversation to cast aspersions on political parties, but a conversation to see how effective we can produce an opposition in governance to make it work. But I'll be coming to you to round up from where you left off after this short break. You'll stay with us. Stay TMI, and we're looking at democracy under President Bola Tinubu and the need to strengthen it, the role of opposition parties in governance. Before that break, we had you talking about what you have to say as regards this. So can you continue from where you left off?
Yeah, opposition are supposed to be made for constructive criticisms. The kind of opposition we have today is an opposition of campaign of calumny. Oppositions that are not ashamed of their style of leadership. Opposition that is not purpose-driven. Opposition that is not goal-oriented. Oppositions that does not have any alternative solution to what they accuse the ruling party of.
Okay, that but you are not excluding your party from it, because at the time when PDP was in governance, your party was in opposition and did do otherwise.
God bless you. You can see when Lai Mohammed was the national publicity secretary of the APC. You could see the way of ACN, as it were, years back. You could see the way he criticized the policies of the government. You could see the way what he did in terms of opposition. Opposition based on issues, not opposition of calumny. And subsequently, when he became the Minister of Information, you also see how he put a bear in terms of reforms in that sector.
Okay. Let's take your bite, Neville. You are a political scientist, and let's look at the scientific, interpretation to all of this, because some have said that the political parties in Nigeria put together seem not to be in unity to perform their constitutional role of effective opposition in governance. Do you concur?
Well, I align myself with the reasoning of former President of the United States, Barack Obama, when he said that Africa needs strong institutions, but not strong men. But with due respect to President Obama, he misfired, because as a student of history, the strong institutions that America prides herself with today were built by strong men, like the likes of General Washington, Madison, Franklin Roosevelt. The list is long. These strong men built the institutions that America is using to brag today that America is a country of law and all the rest of them.
But they were not above the institutions.
I'm saying that at that time that the institutions were being built, men were stronger than the state.
Oh.
Yes, before the institutions were built on the basis of resistance, on the basis of a war.
So it came up as a way of involving.
Yes. So when we are talking about opposition in Nigeria, and right now opposition under Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we are saying that political parties don't have ideology. If, for instance, APC does not have an ideology, there's a Labour Party. What stops Labour Party from having an ideology? So that others, Nigerians or voters can look at the ideology and say, okay, this next election, we are going to vote for Labour Party that is in opposition now. If APC does not have an ideology, and I know that they don't have ideology, now, what stops PDP, another major opposition party, from having an ideology that Nigerians will now look and say, okay, in the next election, we are going to vote for PDP because of this ideology. Now, what we have in Nigeria, they are fair weather politicians. And when we talk about PDP, I don't like mentioning political party, but when it becomes necessary, I mention. You talk about PDP, you talk about Wike. I want us to go back to history. Now, politicians in Nigeria, from 1999, they agreed that power will be shifted between North and South. They agreed.
Yes.
Whether it was PDP, whether it was AD, they agreed that power will be shifted from North to South.
But that was not part of a provision from the Constitution.
It was,
If it is not part of the provision of the 1999 Constitution, and politicians now discover that Nigeria is a heterogeneous society, and the clamor for office of president will tear the country apart, and they now agree gentlemanly that power will be shifted from the north to the south. And Obasanjo just started. The power was returning to north. Yar'Adua came. Then Yar'Adua now died in the office. Goodluck completed his tenure. One of the reasons why Goodluck did not win that 2015 election was because the North came to that realization that for almost 16 years of democracy, the North had ruled for 2 years, while the South had ruled for the other years. Obasanjo 8 years, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan 2 years, then another 4 years. So if you add it together, it was going to be 14 years of the South and 2 years of the North. A former governor of Kano State, Malam Ibrahim Shekarau, came on this your television program, live program, with Sonny Duke Okosu. And as he came to campaign for Israel in the 2016 governorship election under PDP, and Sonny Duke Okosu asked him the question, how come that PDP lost 2015 the presidential election to the opposition? He said it here, you can still look for the clip, that it was because the North wanted power to return to North because of the fact that there was a gentlemanly agreement of power shift between North and South, and the North was like, is losing out in that arrangement. Now, I know that Wike, as a member of PDP and a presidential aspirant, on the basis of this philosophy, he wanted to emerge as the PDP presidential candidate. And those who he gave support, gave Rivers money and the rest of them, at the dying minute, they turned against him and said it was Atiku Abubakar they wanted to give the mandate. To Wike and to other governors who were with him, like governor of Benue State, governor of Oyo State and the rest of them, they believed that power was still returning back to the North after Buhari, and power was going back to another Fulani man. That was the reason why Wike, till tomorrow, is saying that power must remain in the South for this period. Whether it's in PDP, whether it's another party, it's not the issue. And it is on the basis of this heterogeneous nature of Nigeria and the politics that people need to understand the position of certain governors who are strategizing for their own re-election in 2027. You get the point? So this is the point. And so when people make statements about the kind of opposition that is in Nigeria today, they make statement about the crisis that is in Nigeria today, like somebody made mention of Benue crisis. It's very unfortunate that people have been leading this country. They have not provided the leadership that will not make people from our neighboring countries to take Nigeria as their country. And then they can bring their criminality from their country into Nigeria, yes, operate successfully, and go back away. Because neighboring communities, border communities in Nigeria, they see themselves as citizens of two countries. Citizens of Nigeria for those that are around Idiroko, those that are around the Seme border. They see themselves as Nigerians on one side, they see themselves as Beninois, yes, on the other side. Yes. If you go to northern part of Nigeria, people from Katsina State, some of them, they see themselves as Nigerians, they see themselves as Nigerians. Those that are in Chad border, they see themselves as Chadians, they see themselves as Nigerians. At every particular point in time, where they see criminality be brought from these countries to Nigeria, they will align, they will acquiesce. And so All these problems need to be tackled by the political leadership of this country, whether it is PDP that is in power, whether it's in APC, whether it is APC that is in power. And in any case, it's only very few politicians that can be consistent with their political party and their political orientation. Others can either be party A or a party B, depending on their benefit. And I've given such examples earlier.
Okay.
So that is the point. And just now, Nigeria is bleeding.
Okay, we'll come to that bleeding aspect after this time out. Well, let's quickly look at this aspect, 2027 in focus, because we have the election year coming rapidly, and we want to see the effective nature of the opposition political parties, producing a very, very effective result that can bring about a balance in democracy. Do you see the way it is now as having this opportunity to do that, most especially when even we have a member of your party that is a beneficiary in the government, the FCT minister, for instance? Some have said he has done much blow to your party, rather than good.
Thank you very much, Philip. Let me quickly correct this impression that my political scientists have created here. Before I answer your question, you see, before that election in 2023, in PDP, a zoning committee was set up to look at where the party will zone its ticket to. And Wike's friend, the then governor of Benue State, Otom, was made the chairman of that zoning committee. And he decided to throw it open. He would have told me that he has not discussed with Wike, behind camera. They threw it open. And Atiku Abubakar made it clear that if the ticket was zoned to the southeast, looking at Peter Obi then, that he was not going to contest. But Wike's friend Otom decided to throw the ticket open because they've strategized and saw that it would be easy for them to claim the presidential ticket of the PDP. And the story is for another day. Now, let's talk about a viable opposition or a viable party that will take over in 2027. If we continue the way it is with the kind of electoral act we have today, it is as good as Tinubu winning 2027 election already.
What has electoral act got to do with opposition parties in Congress?
Yes, because if we do not amend the electoral act in such a way that electronic transmission of results will be effective, will be a law that no member of any political party can easily cross-carpet. If you are cross-carpeting to another political party, you drop that position that you were elected into from that political party.
But don't forget, if the party is in crisis, if the party is in crisis, the provision of the constitution has already
is PDP in such crisis today that will warrant the exodus that is happening today?
Yes.
What is happening today is going to lead to voter apathy if it is left like this and nothing is done. This is where the electorate and the Nigerian masses, the civil society organizations must stand up to move for strong electoral reform before the windows closes.
But don't you think it's also the role of your party, to organize itself ahead 2027?
Exactly.
Reposition itself.
That is in the pipeline.
From the look of things, some have said that they are not doing the needful as regards forming a very formidable alliance with other parties to, contend the election for 2027.
Well, I would say that's not true because the National Working Committee of the PDP just had their meeting. It was successful. They are, trying to put everything in place to ensure that we have a party that Nigerians can look up to come 2027.
When you say Nigerians can look up to, Nigerians look up to it way back, and what did they cover?
Just compare what we are having today since 2015, and way back when PDP was in government. It's like heaven, the difference between heaven and earth.
Oh, really?
That's how it is. How much is a bag of cement today? How much was it when PDP was in power? How much is fuel selling today? How much is it when PDP was in power?
Was that as a result of the party or a global meltdown?
It is not. It is the policy of government that determines how a government is run. Look at the first day in office. Since that day, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to power. From day one, Nigeria have not been the same again.
Are you talking about the fair subsidy removal?
Exactly.
Would your party not have done the same?
When Jonathan did it way back, this same Tinubu, the likes of Tinubu and others came to the street and protested massively. And he listened to the voice, of reasoning, and rescinded on that decision and listened to the people.
As a listening president.
As a listening president. But today, our president is telling us no going back.
Are you saying
and
that
look
the
at where we
is
are.
Not a listening president?
Well, it's left for the people to decide if he's listening or not.
Such a heated argument, but we'll be coming to Benson Odia to respond to the hit that they got from Amieye Omoge. We'll take a short break after we do that. Please stay. We see under President Bola Tinubu, the role of the opposition parties in governance is what we are about. And we had very, very interesting, presentations from the PDP member, who is Amieye Omoge, former SSA to the governor of Edo State on arts and culture. But I don't know how your reaction should be like Benson Odia.
If you say that the president on the first day in office removes subsidy, is because of his love and his commitment to the country. If you look at this country over the years, the subsidy, Nigerians pay for subsidy, the subsidy money, those who did not even bring for it, they are not marketers, it's a cabal. They have plunged Nigeria into economic woes. That is one. The president has been able to do it so that all Nigerians will feel it. And today, as I speak with you,
when you say we feel it, what are they feeling?
No.
If you talk about the first subsidy removal, it's becoming an ancient practice, and every government will want to abolish that. But some have said, what were the viable objectives that the government under President Bola Tinubu prepared for in order to tackle the exit, the subsidy that we've been having in.
A very good example.
And that again brought us to where we are today.
A very good example of the objective was, you can see if you go to the cities where the CNG vehicle and some other initiative, which time will not be permitted to analyze in the course of this discussion. He made mention of Nigeria, the price of bag of cement. I want to tell you that what is happening today, go to London, you have brothers and sisters there. What we are seeing today is as a result of a global economic downturn or a global economic meltdown. It's not only peculiar to Nigeria, not even only peculiar to Africa. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has done well in terms of looking at critical infrastructure. It is because of his good governance. That is why you see the governors of opposition parties are now moving, trying to join him, to share in his idea.
How does that affect the common Nigerian, the average Nigerian? Because you talk about that the president has done well. I don't want you to be turning in threats, when you live here. But can you tell us one attributing factor that you think the president has, been able to thrive upon to transform the lives of Nigerians?
If you look at it now, if you look at the president has the political will, the political sagacity to go into areas where nobody has dared. Removing subsidy is not a child's play. But many presidents in this country could have done that. They look at the next election. If I do it, I will step on toes, those who are beneficiaries of subsidy. But he did not look that. But because of his law, because of his purpose-driven, his focus, he did it. As I speak with you, Nigeria as a country, the backlog, IMF know, right from the time of the military administration, the president has been able to sort out a very fashionable, very reasonable fashionable representation of that backlog of loan. And not even only that, look at the coastal highway. Look at the institution strengthening of our institutions. Look at the reforms that is going on in this country, in various sectors. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what we need as citizens is patriotism. For this country to develop, for this country to achieve the desired result, it is a collective responsibility. At every point in time, we must be up and doing. Some of us, I want to ask a question. If you go to the market now in Ring Road to purchase an item, when the price skyrocket, they will tell you it's Tinubu regime. But I want to tell you, is Tinubu in the market? Tinubu is not in the market. Does Tinubu sell akpu? Does Tinubu sell rice? No. If the issue of patriotism is there, like some women that will come to my farm and my village to buy maize, and I will cut it for them like let me say like 15 for 15 pieces for 1,000 naira or thereabout. When they get to Benin, they will be selling 300 or 200 or 250. This is something they will sell 100 naira. They will still make gain. But because the love and that patriotism is not there, and that is the reason why we Nigerians, we are punishing ourselves.
I don't think this excuses you from being thrown into shreds by Nigerians, because if you look at the economic hardship in the country, you just made a very good example by the skyrocketing prices of commodities in the market. Now, do you agree that there are policies of the government, even at the federal level, that can affect positively or negatively these commodities in the marketplaces?
Yes.
Like the fuel subsidy removal, for instance. Some have said that there were no accurate plans or viable plans by the government to check all of these excesses that may abound after the removal. Well,
I'm not an economist, but based on my elementary understanding of how economic policies can have whether positive or negative effects on the electorate. You see, the president on his own has done his part by the fuel subsidy removal. And today, as I speak with you vividly, the governors of various states, they are beneficiaries of the fuel subsidy removal. If you look at what is coming to states today from what they get from federation account, since the removal of subsidy, the price has astronomically, the percentage has gone high in terms of what the present governors of the states are collecting.
Okay.
I think it is also, it will not be a misplaced priority if this state government go into farming and also go into some economic programs and policies by way of empowering small and medium scale enterprise and even entrepreneurs in the state. I think it will also be a kind of leverage on the citizenry of the country.
Okay, thank you. Let's take our minds away from that little digression we just had. Now, let's look at Neville. Let's look at the aspect of 2027 in focus and how to produce a viral opposition in governance. Looking at 2027.
Looking at 2027, the political parties that are in opposition should not build their opposition around leaders, past leaders of Nigeria, past leaders of FCT, or past leaders of Kaduna, or past leaders of Anambra. They should provide constructive leadership. They should provide policy options that Nigeria will now say, oh, this political party, if given opportunity, will do this thing differently. And in that case, the idea of the problems that political parties are having, like PDP, will tell you that the problem that they have in PDP is orchestrated by APC. The Labour Party will tell you that the problem they are having in Labour Party is orchestrated by APC. Now, if you are
there's no unity in purpose.
Yes, if you are a family head, and another family head of another family is causing division in your family, and you are a right-thinking human being, are you not supposed to put your house in order? Yes. By ensuring that the disaffection and the crisis that another person is projecting to your family does not hold water? You are supposed to do so. So, sitting down, you see that APC is creating problem for your party. You take the party, you take the problem, you swallow it, you meditate on it, and you spread the problem from the national office to other part of the country after you still blame APC. That means there are enemies within PDP or there are enemies within Labour Party who did not even mean well for their party at the very beginning. Otherwise, they should not be allowed to be used as modes by the ruling party in the name of a problem of our party is created by the ruling party.
Okay.
That is by the way. Now we have been belaboring this issue of subsidy removal since before I come finally back to 2027. I want to say it again and again that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not remove fuel subsidy. He was not the one who removed fuel subsidy. And I said that the person who prepared the speech for him was the one who caused this problem. And the man has not been able to rectify the problem. What was the problem? The speech writer wrote for the president that my predecessor in the office, he was referring to Muhammad Buhari, did not make provision for subsidy in the document I handed over to me, including the supplementary budget I handed over to me. Therefore, subsidy is gone. He was not the one who removed subsidy. Buhari was even talking about removal of subsidy long before he left office. So people should not be saying that Tinubu removed subsidy. His predecessor in the office removed subsidy. Then he himself did not now make provision for subsidy. That is the fact and nothing but the fact. Now, I also blame the president for not making provision to cushion the effect of that subsidy removal, because as he was making that statement, people that are self-fuel across the country were adjusting their fuel pump, and from that time to today, we have not been able to recover from it. But the president has been trying to assuage the problem of Nigeria through different means. And this is in public domain. Now, coming to talk about 2027, any person who is occupying a position, elected position like the president, that still have another opportunity in line with the law, constitution, and the Electoral Act to be re-elected, the person will be working assiduously to be re-elected. And APC, APC leaders, they have looked at the activities of the president, and they have said he is the sole candidate, or he shall be the sole candidate of the APC in 2027 election. So the candidate of APC for the 2027 presidential election is already known. The opposition should go and look for their own candidates that can compete with the president, the APC candidate in that election.
Okay.
Pure and simple. Now, talking about the opposition and talking about 2027 election, it pains me that even those who are talking about electoral reform, like our co-discussers are here, they say electoral reform. We are marking the anniversary of June 12, and June 12 is not a democracy day. What happened on June 12? On June 12, there was option A for those who are clamoring for electoral reform. They should say there should be option A for.
Yes.
So if there is option A for, a city president or a city governor or a city local government chairman or a sitting member of the National Assembly may not win election. This is the electoral reform that they should be clamoring for. Let us go back to option A4. So that on that election day, the signal of your party will just be there.
Yes.
You just go and queue up. Security they are always there. Police soldiers are always there. Then they will count and announce the result. It's as simple as that. So if you are clamoring for electoral reform and you are removing option A4, you are joking, because those who are there will look for every means to manipulate the process.
Our contemporary times is technology driven. Do you understand that? So don't you think that will be easy to do?
When we are talking of technology driven, America election is technology driven. Don't you see on election day in America, people queue up to vote, to cast their ballot in America? You don't used to see them. Very soon, and they will do midterm election. You will see them now. People can vote from wherever they are, but people still go to polling booth unit to go and cast their vote. So, and when we are talking about electronic or digital, whatever, even those who are talking about digital, they still have the manual alongside. In case there is any problem with their digital devices, they fall back to the manual. So, if you are going to do accreditation on election day,
okay,
when you are using option A4, it's still digital now, because it is a machine that you will put your hand, you put your finger, and it will be accredited, and it will be recorded on the website of INEC before the normal counting will take place, and the counting must tally with the number of accredited voters. And if it is not tally, you subtract the number of people that were added to make the number to be above what was accredited.
So this should be the conversation.
Yeah, this should be the conversation. Now, we are still talking about opposition in 2027. I saw Obi movement or Obedient movement in this country. For the first time in the history of democracy in Nigeria, for the very first time, strong men of Nigerian politics did not win their home state. They did not win their bases, including the president and commander-in-chief as we speak. He did not win Lagos State. Obi won Lagos State. For so many reasons, it could be because of a Christian, Muslim ticket. It could be because of non-indigenous that are in Lagos, and maybe because of maybe and so many other interests. And 2 weeks after that, the next election that followed was governorship and House of Assembly election. In some states, not all the states. And then what now happened?
Yeah.
What now happened? The same people who came outside and said obedient movement, with the zeal and revolutionary zeal that they came up in the governorship election and the state House of Assembly election, they were nowhere to be found.
Okay.
They were not resilient. The resilience that Tinubu put up as opposition member for a very long time, they did not learn it from him.
Okay, I'll be coming back to you to take your last bite on this conversation, but let's get to you, Omogie, and the need for us to also seek civic engagement in the opposition efforts, in government, because you may mention on voter apathy, and to a huge extent, if we corroborate it with what Nebilo Bakedo said, the need for electoral reforms, a lot of things have happened in our electoral process that really, through the intention or the efforts or the interest of the people, of the electoral process. And so most of them see it as an opportunity for, political gladiators to, perpetually put themselves in office. So how can we change the narrative to have a civic engagement that will improve on the opposition efforts in Congress?
Thank you very much. You see, with what is happening just now in the country, in fact, that zeal, that enthusiasm, that young men and women came out for the first time in Nigeria en masse to vote for a person that they felt would do the needed, bring the needed changes in Nigeria, and that did not work because the political elite will always have their way around any situation when it comes to politics. My brother was talking about option A4. In this time and age where we have vote buying, that cannot work.
It can work.
Because they must have gone to the houses of these electorates, give them money. Because at the end of the day, if you are not queuing beside their party logo or whatever, that becomes a problem. That will become threats to life. The best approach still remains this secret ballot, improved upon with electronic transmission of our results to be recognized by law. When we do this, we'll get it right. He said people can be at the convenience of their houses and vote. Why not? If we have a INEC portal that is recognized.
But we have tried even in the Edo elections, for instance, in 2024, even without the option A.
No. Till now, even in the tribunal, you see that the court is still saying that even with the evidence brought before the court, the beavers extract and all of that, they are still saying they needed to bring in witnesses from the various polling units to come and testify. When we have certified true copies, the law is very clear. And it states that where there is certified true copy, you don't need oral interview, you don't need oral testimony to show that that election was not massively rigged.
Thank you. Well, we've come to a point where we want to call it a wrap. But before that, let's allow you to take 1 minute to close on your remarks for today's conversation. To you.
Yeah, well, I want to say this, that the Edo election was transparent.
We're not talking about the Edo election.
Okay.
Anyways.
Anyway,
that was a digression. Maybe you want to react.
I want to react to him.
Okay.
It is only
10 seconds.
Yes, it's only the INEC that have the prerogative to declare whosoever win election. When you are not satisfied, you go to tribunal, and the tribunal has delivered the judgment, subsequently appealed. We are now at the Supreme Court, so that is on that side. And in the no share.
Okay.
I want Nigerians to imbibe the culture
Thank
of democracy.
Thank you. You said it all. Thank you.
And good governance.
Thank you. In 10 seconds, Neville.
10 seconds. Well, in this our conversation, we are saying something about Atiku winning 2023 ticket of PDP. Atiku is a product of zoning, and he should have allowed power to be zoned to the south, because he became a vice president when he was elected governor of Adamawa State.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then there is global meltdown across the world. America is even feeling the heat. That's why today Donald Trump is imposing tariffs on 30 countries, and he is sending the undocumented migrants back to their country.
Okay.
Then lastly, Nigeria should change their political culture orientation.
All right, thank you. You've said it all.
And ensure that democracy
thank you.
is a threat.
Thank you. Your final words in 10 seconds.
Yes, I want to say that opposition parties in Nigeria should up their game by bringing the needed check and balances, and also provide the necessary policy framework for us to have a better Nigeria.
Thank you very much. That's all from the Benin Network Center.